A mountain is many things. Forests soaring and free. Rock in staggering shapes and sizes. Water resting for a moment in meadow pools. Roaring in frantic haste to Mother Sea. Avalanches and glaciers carved and sculpted the sides of Mount Rainier into the towering cliffs, U-shaped valleys and bowl-like cirques of today.
Are you sure about that? Or is this just some more cognitive conditioning and a systematic way of thinking that we've been well trained in? I mean, I'm just saying, is anyone really using their eyes anymore? Much less their God-given discernment. Come on now.
And behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and an holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit, that the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth.
Look at Assyria, a cedar in Lebanon, with beautiful branches that shaded the forest. It towered on high. Its tops was among the clouds. The tree grew large and strong. The top of the tree touched the sky and could be seen from anywhere on earth. As I was looking at those things in the vision while laying on my bed, I saw an observer, a holy angel, coming down from the heaven. He spoke very loudly and said, Cut down the tree, cut off its branches, strip off the leaves, and scatter its fruit. Let the animals under the tree run away, let the birds in its branches fly away. But leave the stump and its roots in the ground with a band of iron and bronze around it. Let the man become wet with dew, and let him live among the animals and plants of the earth. Let him not think like a human any longer, but let him have the mind of an animal for 7 years. The observers gave this command. The holy ones declared the sentence. This is so all people may know that the Most High God rules over every kingdom on earth. God gives those kingdoms to anyone he wants, and he chooses people to rule them who are not proud. Since the stump of the tree and its roots were left in the ground, your kingdom will be given back to you when you learn that the one in heaven rules your kingdom. Cut down the trees, but leave the roots within the ground. Look, Assyria, a cedar in Lebanon. Its top was among the clouds. Cut it down. You know, it's amazing to me how blind we've been with things that have sat right in front of our faces the entire time. All those things that we didn't see before, but we see now, plain as day, and then we sit here and we ask ourselves how we ever even missed it. It's a crazy little world that we're living in, where everything we learn comes from television programming or sitting in a school desk, raising our hands and waiting in turn to speak and memorizing exactly what's been taught to us or shown to us or told to be so, with never even once looking for ourselves. Sometimes I feel like we're living inside a Dr. Seuss book, where we're told this thing is this and that thing is that, and sadly, more truth comes from a cat in a hat. I don't know about you, but frankly, I'm tired. My eyes now see truth, and their lies have expired. Now I know that I cannot make you see through my eyes, and I cannot make you understand what my own mind already does. But one thing that I can do is hope, pray, and try. To me, it only makes sense that all things rock, derived from which once was living. To me, this goes back to the old saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? We should all know by now that the egg could never exist without the chicken first laying it. All it requires are the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the voice to speak up and out. Can you see it? Are you seeing it all yet? Trust me, this isn't the only lie you've been told. There's plenty more. And you know what else? It sure would have been a heck of a lot easier when it came to making these, in particular structures, these ancient architectural designs, to be possibly carved more so from wood, like a tree stump or a log laying on its side, versus all of the other things that's been said, like chisels and hammers, horse and buggy, thousands and upon thousands of men, basalt, granite, blah blah blah, or possibly even the use of lasers with more advanced technology. I mean, really? Did we possibly overthink it? Or underthink it? Or did we just not think it at all? That's the real question. Because if you ask me, every bit of this is petrification and nothing more. And now I really have to wonder, maybe, just maybe, that's why they called this right here, Petra. You don't have to take my word for it. Just look. And I can tell you one thing. Your scientists have based all of their conclusive so-called evidence off of our current environment and atmospheric conditions, sadly rendering evolution completely useless. It's quite obvious that our world was different then, very different. If we had gigantic lizards, or what some call dinosaurs, I assure you, they had to have the same gigantic trees to accommodate them. And though I can see or understand the need that these scientists must have had to feel very important, witty, and smart to come up with their conclusions by calling something a mountain, a butte, a bluff, a canyon, a mesa. But the sad part is, they were such show-offs, they overshot it and didn't look at the obvious, and their experiments don't apply in something that grew in an environment not at all like ours. It's only common sense and certainly not rocket science. And if you're a believer and you believe in the Bible, then one would know that certainly giants existed in those days, because it clearly says there were giants in those days. I mean, go ahead and take a look at Daniel or Ezekiel. You'll see. The Bible speaks of the great trees, one in particular, and how it reached for the heavens and spread out and covered the world with its shade, nestled in by the river in which it drank from. I know some of you have a fascination for rocks, and I also know that many of you have found pieces and portions of petrified wood. Well, next time you're out and you find some of that, go ahead and take a good look all around at your surroundings. I bet you're going to have a mountain, a bluff, a butte, or something similar, even if just a hill, right beside where you found a single piece. And then, while you're at it, go ahead and start looking at the uncanny similarities and tell me what you see. I can tell you what I see. Those similarities aren't similar at all. They're exact, just on a ginormous scale. And if your eyes are no longer able to see, Well, then just listen to your heart, because your heart speaks truth. This is the same truth coming from your Lord God above, who did indeed create it all. And please remember this: anything and everything is possible with God. We're living, breathing, and walking miracles, with every intricate portion of our bodies functioning and working together to provide life that runs through each of us and outward emits. Now, if that's not enough proof for you, how everything and anything is possible through God and through Christ our Lord, I really don't know what is. We're talking about a tree here versus the human body. I'm quite certain he's capable of it. In fact, I don't question it at all. He speaks to each of us every day in special ways, and if you're quiet and still long enough, you might be able to hear him. He speaks through us through trees, land and water, through the skies above, the stars you see at night, and the planetary objects that bounce around within. He speaks to each of us in many, many ways. But you have to be still long enough to be able to see it. And trust me, to understand nature in its own true element, you must actually spend time with it. You have to spend time with Mother Earth and be in touch with her. You have to look, listen, and watch. Be observant, and don't be distracted by the worldly ways that come in physical form, provided in efforts to distract us. You know what's crazy? All of this takes little to no effort. It just requires your attention, your heart, your soul, your mind, your eyes, your ears, all in which are free and freely given. And in the end, it all belongs to Him anyway. Nothing here on earth we will take with us, but everything we learn and grow from by understanding and through love. These things, my precious friends, these are the things we will be taking home with us. All those in this world that have provided us much false information, the professionals and the professions that they took on, just remember that all of those professions come with guidelines, rules, and regulations. In fact, they come within a box in which one is not allowed to think outside of. And therefore, what you've been fed and told are mainly lies, but structured lies, and for good reason, because they don't want you to know truth. And just remember, it's that same truth that I speak of that will set you free. To be set free of this imprisonment that contains the entire human race requires great courage. To imprison an entire race of humans without their knowledge, for what would have been also against their will had they only known. Satan is left as the victor, and I myself, my friends, I refuse, for he has no victory, because the war has already been won. The tree grew large and strong, and its top touched the sky, and it was visible to the ends of the earth. Look, Assyria was a big tree, and huge as a Lebanon cedar, beautiful limbs offering cool shade, skyscraper high, piercing the clouds. The waters gave it drink, the primordial deep lifted it high, gushing out rivers around the place where it was planted, and then branching out in streams to all the trees in the forest. It was immense, dwarfing all the trees in the forest, thick boughs, long limbs, and roots delving deep into the earth's waters. All the birds of the air nested in its boughs. All the wild animals gave birth under its branches. All the mighty nations lived in its shade. It was stunning in its majesty, the reach of its branches and the depth of its water-seeking roots. These are the visions I saw while laying in bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its tops touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Just look, Assyria vapor high, piercing the sky, and the waters gave it drink. The primordial deep lifted it high, gushing out rivers around the place where it was planted, and then branching out in streams to all the trees in the forest. It was immense. All the birds of the air nestled in its boughs, and all the wild animals gave birth under its branches, and all the mighty nations lived within its shade. It was stunning in its majesty. That royalty lifted high, dwarfing all the trees in the forest, gushing out rivers around the place where it was planted, and then branching out in streams to all the trees in the forest. Thick boughs, long limbs, roots delving deep into earth's waters. All the birds of the air nested in its boughs, and all the wild animals gave birth under its branches, and all the mighty nations lived within its shade. It was stunning in its majesty, the reach of its branches, the depth of its water-seeking roots. Not a cedar in God's garden came close to it. No pine tree was anything like it. Mighty oaks looked like bushes growing alongside it. Not a tree in God's garden was in the same